Watch this. That was the last minute winner from the penalty spot for the game Cremonese against Sassuolo. First home game in Serie A for my hometown club. Man, what an atmosphere. It was unbelievable. And there was goals in it as well. An Italian game with goals. Now, jokes aside, who used to watch the Channel 4 Italian football back in the 90s? Golazzo! I remember it well. Sunday afternoons, nothing much to do, internet didn't exist. The only thing you had to do was study. And then, on Channel 4, the Serie A game was on. To be honest with you, I didn't really like Italian football. But it just gave me something to do instead of studying. What would you rather do, study or watch Italian football for free? So I know what I chose. I chose to watch the Italian football. I remember the world record signing that AC Milan did for £13 million. I think it was £13 million. Lentini. And then I think he injured himself in the first game. He was transferred from Torino to AC Milan. And everyone was talking about it. And I think he played. I may be wrong. I think he hardly played. I didn't live up to his expectations, let's put it that way. It was the years when Gaza was at Lazio as well. And the guy who presented it, actually, James, I forget his name. I saw him on Amazon Prime recently, so he's still back in the game. But yeah, I mean, what a start to the season Cremonese have had. In the last week's video, I talked about the game they played in the San Siro. They beat AC Milan 2-1. And they've got 6 points from 6. And before the game, obviously we met. I've got a season ticket. I go with one of my friends from here. And before the game, obviously we met in one of the bars outside the stadium. And we met up with a bunch of English lads who'd come over just to see the game. And that's what Serie A brings. It brings loads of money from the TV rights. The Serie A is broadcast around the world. So this little town that I live in northern Italy, and I've lived in for 25 years. I married a girl from here. So it's going to have huge exposure. A lot of my friends who live in the UK have already arranged to come over and watch a game with me. And these lads who were from Manchester couldn't believe they hadn't been living here for 25 years. They were like, oh God. They had a little bit too much to drink as well. But yeah, one of the guys was 68, and he said that the last time he came to Cremona, he was a West Ham fan, he came to watch Cremonese West Ham in 1992. And he said it was just plain Milan Linate, coached, ground coach Linate Airport, and then back to London. So he came just for the game and saw nothing of the city. And he said that after all these years, so 1992, how many years ago was that? Who's good at maths? It was 10, 20, yeah, a long time ago. So he's come back to Cremona, and he still had the scarf from that day, and he was staying the night in Cremona. And he said he looked around the city, and it's a beautiful city. And I was thinking, we were talking, he said, just think how times have changed now. Now, you can go to a game, you can enjoy yourself with the locals, you can have a drink, you can sleep at the city. Now that's progress, I think. Surely we've moved on from when it was back in the 90s, where they had to be herded in and herded out, treated like animals because, you know, people thought, or the police thought that they were going to cause trouble. I mean, trouble still happens, but I can assure you, I had a season ticket 3 years ago when they were in Cremonese, were in Serie A again, and I've never seen any trouble at all. So we were all enjoying ourselves before the game. And yeah, the game lived up to expectations, like I said. I think Serie A in general has gone downhill if you compare it with the other leagues. I think the Premier League and La Liga in Spain are just a little ahead of Italian football now. But Italian football in the 90s was the best football there is. I think that's why Channel 4 showed it. Mainly driven by Mr. Berlusconi himself and the AC Milan that he owned. Rest in peace, by the way, Berlusconi. Yeah, they were the best team around in the 90s. And so they were driving European football, they were winning everything. But now, times have changed. I can't remember the last time an Italian team won a European trophy. I mean, Inter Milan got to the final of the Champions League last year, I think out of luck, because they shouldn't have gone through against Barcelona in the semi-final, and it shows you what happened. I think it's the biggest defeat ever in a Champions League final or a European final, 5-0. So yeah, now there's talk of Mr. Jamie Vardy. Hang on, there's something on my camera here. It's annoying me. Look at the hair. So there's now talk of Mr. Jamie Vardy coming to Cremonese. The Wayne Rooney dei poveri, as they say here in Italy. Poor man's Wayne Rooney. I think that's unfair, because I think Vardy's a great player. Great striker. And could he repeat with Cremonese if he comes yet? I think it's going to be announced today. Sunday, this is Sunday. Could he repeat what he did in Leicester exactly 10 years ago? Now that'd be something to talk about, wouldn't it? Can you imagine Jamie Vardy came to Cremonese and they won the league? Total outsider, total, pretty much like Leicester, I would say, Cremonese. Total, underdog. That would be crazy. Just think what that would do for the city or the town. Mr. Jamie Vardy, watch this space. Hopefully he'll come. Because that's what Cremonese need. They need a guy who puts it in. Up front, they haven't got very many options. In fact, the guy who scored the penalty that I showed you there, I think he's the only striker. Well, he's not the only striker, but he's like the main striker, and I've never heard of him. Gianluca, he's called. There's a nice football pitch there. I think they're BMXing. So before I went into the stadium, there was a plaque dedicated to Mr. Gianluca Vialli, who is from Cremona. I made a video about that before, which I'll link below. Basically, the plaque, I'll put it here, says, thanks Gianluca Vialli for teaching us that life is a challenge that you have to face with hard work and determination and a smile, and something like that. I can't remember what else it says, but you can pause the video and Google translate it. Gianluca Vialli started his career down the road. In fact, his brother, I still see his brother in the city centre. His brother's really the spitting image of him, and they live just outside the city. But yeah, I mean, I liked him when I watched Italian football on Channel 4. I think at the time he was playing for Juventus. He wasn't my favourite player. He was like the typical striker. Not a lot of skill. With skill, I mean like beating people and dribbling people. But yeah, he was a hard worker, and he knew he was always in the right place at the right time. And that was one of his famous quotes. He was a true believer of hard work over talent. Which, my personal opinion is, I think it's the other way around. I think if you've got talent, and even if you don't work your 100%, you'll still do really well. Whereas the opposite, if you've not got any talent, you can work as hard as you want and you won't get anywhere. So you need a mix of the two. It's up to, you need a mix of talent and hard work to succeed in any form of life. And whether one person thinks talent is more important or hard work is more important than another, I think Gianluca Vialli thought that hard work was more important. My personal opinion is talent is more important. It depends how you see things, how you see life. Is the glass half empty or is it half full? So yeah, it was a nice tribute nice to put a plaque in the stadium dedicated to Mr. Vialli himself. There's talk of us renaming the stadium here to call it the Gianluca Vialli Stadium. At the moment, the stadium is called the Zini, and It's I'll link some information below about the stadium. It's quite a really nice stadium, about 15,000 seater. Great to come over and cheap, you know, watch the Serie A game on the cheap. I think I paid about 600 euros for a season ticket, and I've got a great seat. I'm not behind the goal, I'm right in the middle of the pitch, just really almost at the front, a little bit high up, so I've got a perfect view. And I don't know how much tickets are, but I reckon if you came and watched a game like Cremonese, Udinese or something like that, you probably get a ticket for 20 euros, 25 euros. And in fact, the English guys that we met before the game, we didn't exchange Instagram or anything. I hope they're having a good time. They were coming over for the weekend, so they came over Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and on Friday they were watching Cremonese Sassuolo. On Saturday they were going to Parma Atalanta, and on Sunday, which is today, they were going watching Inter Udinese. How mad is that? They came over to Italy for a weekend. They were watching 3 games. But yeah, they were well impressed with the vibe and the atmosphere. I'll make a video on one of the games, one of the important games like Cremonese Napoli or something, or any game. Just make a video about the game, show you how the vibe, how great it is, how the city's buzzing. If you've seen the highlights of the game from the stadium, there's no big screen in the stadium, so what you see is like live. So it's hard to it's hard to see if things were a penalty or not, because there's no replay. That's the word. Things are getting stuck in my mouth. I forget my English after all these years. And you know, the score was 2-1 to Cremonese. They scored the win in the last minute, which is the penalty I showed you. But the penalty that they get Sassuolo, sorry, it was 3-2. It wasn't 2-1. It was 3-2. Cremonese were 2-0 up, and then Sassuolo brought it back to 2-2, and then the penalty was a 3-2, was the winner. But Sassuolo got a penalty, and from the pitch, it didn't look like a penalty at all. And the referee never even went to the VAR. And we were like, why is he not going to the VAR? If he goes to the VAR, he'll see that's not a penalty. But I think if you look at the replays, you can see why he didn't need to go to the VAR, because it was a penalty. But the Cremonese penalty didn't look like a penalty to me. But again, it got given last minute. Now where I'm walking now, which is along the river, seeing the river in the background there. 2 days ago, a car came down here and someone committed suicide, drove their car into the river. They found the car sticking out, and I think the body is at the bottom of the river. It was a female, 67 years old. Strange. I've been here for 25 years, I've never heard of anyone dying in the river. But that happened 2 days ago. Maybe she was celebrating too hard after Cremonese's win. So folks, that was it. Jamie Vardy, please come. Let us get into Europa League at least. And if we win the league, can you imagine that? Can you imagine the party if we won the league? There was a huge party last year when we got into Serie A. I don't even want to think how big it would be if we won the league and how many people would come. But yeah, there's going to be loads of foreigners coming to the game as well. There was Swedish people there. There was everyone. Anyway, folks, YouTube thinks you might like this video. Like and subscribe if you want to know more about living in Italy. Ciao for now.